Hi there, my name is Moyoluwa Ogunjobi, a secondary school graduate from Nigeria. Alright, so quick story here. In August, when WAEC results were released, mine kind of went viral on Facebook. Yeah, that girl, yeah, that is me. Alright, so since then I've gotten many DMs from students asking for academic advice, study tips, etc. And because this is GCE season, most of them intend to write GCE this year. It was becoming stressful to reply everyone one-on-one. Then I decided to put all this advice and study tips into one video, then share with the public. That way I can get your questions answered and hopefully have my word reach many other GCE aspirants. So quick disclaimer here. I had 7 A's and 2 victories in my GCE. This means I am not a Miss Know-it-all, okay? It is not my place to tell you what to do and what not to do. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to share what worked for me and what did and what didn't, and just give advice from the experiences I had when I wrote the exam. So this video is the first in a 3-part series. Yes, there will be 3 videos addressing different topics related to the GCE. In this first video, I'm just going to talk about general things you should know about the GCE. The second video will be more detailed about how to study, resources to use, and how to manage your time as a student. The third video will be more of a Q&A because I'm certain I'm going to get a great deal of questions. In fact, I have several questions waiting for me in my DM. So please ask questions in the comment section so I will address them in the third video. Okay, first of all, what is GCE? Now, GCE stands for General Certificate of Education, but that is not its official name. There are 2 GCEs offered by WAEC and NECO. So WAEC calls its own WASE PC, which is WASE for private candidates, while that of NECO is SSE External, SSE for external candidates. Now, it's called a private/external examination because you register privately, not with your school. You don't take the exam in your school, you take it at a private center, and your results are sent privately to you, not to your school. Okay, so these 2 exams are taken in November/December as opposed to the normal WAEC or normal NECO in May, June, or July. However, WAEC offers 2 GCEs in a year. The first one is called the first series, which is taken in January/February, while the second one is second series that is taken November or December. Now, this year, WAEC GCEs will start by October 31st and end December 20, while that of NECO will start November 22 and end December 21. Okay, so I'm very sorry for talking really fast. I'm really trying my best to keep this video under 10 minutes. You can as well watch the video at a lower playback speed. Yeah. Now, why should you take the GCE and what benefits would you get from writing it? Well, before I go on, there are 2 sets of candidates that take the exam. The first set comprises students that have completed their secondary education. The thing is that maybe they didn't have a good result or they didn't have a good grade in a particular subject. They then, take GCE, then use that result to apply to university. The second set consists of secondary school students, mostly SS3, who are writing the exam to get a feel of the normal WAEC. Now, I wrote GCE when I was in SS3, and to me, it felt like a preparatory test. I wrote it to familiarize myself with WAEC, the structure of questions, and of course, to begin studying early. Now, here are some ways writing GCE might help you. 1. Writing GCE helps you to identify your strengths and weaknesses. So this can be while you're preparing, during the exam, or even after when the results have been released. So you know the subjects you're good at and the ones where you have some gaps in knowledge. Then you can work on them while studying for WAEC. 2. You begin studying early. If you're in SS3 now and you're going to write GCE, just know that you're started preparing for WAEC. Yes. And this puts you ahead of your mates. You have more time to study, to explore different textbooks, and to practice many years of past questions. It will even help you in second term when you're preparing for UTME. 3. In case your WAEC doesn't turn out well. Now, this will not be your case, but there are people whose GCE results were better than their WAEC, or whose WAEC results were withheld or cancelled. In these cases, GCE was your saving grace. So yeah, in case your WAEC doesn't come out well, you have your GCE as your backup. backup. Now, this brings me to a very important point that writing GCE does not guarantee you success in WAEC. Now, I know your WAEC should be better than GCE because it's like, taking the exam twice. But people tend to relax if they ace their GCE. Now, if I had let my 7 A's get into my head, I might have not gotten as many A's as I did in WAEC. So, your success in WAEC depends on how well you prepare for it. In fact, there are students that do not take GCE and still come out with brilliant results in WAEC. When is the best time to take GCE and which should you take? Alright, so if you want to write GCE, you must have completed SS1 and SS2, which means you're currently in SS3. Now, there are students that write it in SS1 or SS2, but don't do it. I really don't see the point. Although I had a friend that wrote the exam in GSS3, yes, GSS3, and he had pretty good results, an A in math and a B in English. But if you're not a whiz kid like him, please don't do it though. Take it in SS3. Now, remember I told you that WAEC offers 2 GCEs and NECO offers 1. I'm not really sure about NECO. I suggest you take the WAEC second series GCE or NECO GCE because that's like 4 months to your normal WAEC exam. And your results will come out around February for WAEC GCE. I don't know about NECO GCE. And you have about 2 months to review your performance and prepare for WAEC. However, if you take first series, you might not have much time to review your performance because your results will come out in April, which is like some weeks to your normal WAEC exam. 2, if you're going to take UTME, you might find it difficult to juggle school with GCE with UTME prep. So if you're in SS3, the best time to take GCE is the second series GCE or November, December GCE. You can also take first series, which is in second term, but to be honest, the timing of second series GCE is better for you. Now, if you are no longer in secondary school, you can take either, suit yourself. Now, should you take WAEC or NECO GCE? Now, the thing is that WAEC GCE is more popular. In fact, many students don't know that NECO offers GCE. You should know that both WAEC and NECO's GCE are structured after the normal WAEC and the normal NECO. So there really isn't much difference. If you're only going to write WAEC in your final exams, like you're not going to take NECO, then there is no point writing NECO GCE. But if you're going to take both WAEC and NECO in SS3, then you can take either of the GCEs. Just don't take both GCEs because their dates are going to clash. Yeah. So some people say NECO is harder. I don't think so. But the thing is that WAEC will give you 50 OBJ questions, A to D, while NECO will give you 60 OBJ questions, A to E. Yeah, and in English it is even worse. WAEC will give you, I think, 80 OBJ questions, while NECO will give you 100 OBJ questions. But obviously, NECO will give you more time to answer the extra questions. And again, NECO's exam is much more shorter, like about a month, while WAEC's exam takes about a month and a half. But the advantage of WAEC's own is that you have the subjects are spaced. Like you can have maths today and physics in 3 days. But NECO, you can have physics today, chemistry tomorrow, and biology next tomorrow. Yeah. So in general, WAEC is much more organized in the structure, the way they conduct the exams, in your answer sheets, and they will even give you a calculator. NECO will not do that. Yeah, so I recommend you take WAEC second series GCE because that's what I did. But to be honest, you can do any one you want. First series, second series, NECO, you do what you want to do. Yeah, WAEC registration for WAEC GCE is closed, but you can do a late registration, although that will cost you some extra cash. While that of NECO is still ongoing and ends 14th of November. So if you chose WAEC GCE, you can get your timetable if you don't have it in the description box below. And you can also get that of NECO in the description box below. So what are the differences between your normal WAEC or NECO and GCE WAEC or NECO? The main difference is that the former is a school exam while the latter is a private exam. Now by private exam, I mean you register privately and not with your school. So in your normal WAEC, your school counselor or principal or whoever does that will register on your behalf and will also register for your classmates. But in GCE, you just walk into a cyber cafe and you do your registration there. Or you go to the cyber cafe with a sum of money. I think WAEC registration fee is 18,000 naira, but please go with about 20k just in case. Yeah. 2, you don't take the exam in your school or at the private center. Now, some students get to write the exam in your school, especially public school students, because that's the center that was given to them, but it's not the case for everybody. Now, if you are a student from a posh school, you know those schools where you get a table to yourself, you get AC in the exam hall, please know that you are going to be posted to a government school, and you know how things are there. 3 people will share a seat, yeah, and definitely there is no AC, no fan safe. So yeah, so you get your results privately, while in normal WAEC, your result is sent to your school, and in normal WAEC, you'll be given a certificate from your school for free, while in GCE, you pay WAEC or NECO to give you one. Yeah. In your normal WAEC, you'll be given a scratch card that contains your result checking information, but in GCE, you also have a scratch card. In WAEC, not NECO, you have a scratch card, but I'm not sure they will give you because we're not given ours. So yeah, but your results checker information will be on your registration slip, so please keep that paper well, except you want to pay like 3k to buy scratch card like later, and I'm sure you don't want to do that. Do not wear uniform to your GCE center, okay? It's a private exam and you are expected to go in mufti. Just wear something responsive. Now, this guy in my center that came in uniform and he was asked to take it off. Yeah, I wrote his exam in his underwear. Another point is that the structure of normal WAEC or NECO and GCE WAEC or NECO is the same thing. The only difference is the practical paper. So in your normal WAEC or NECO, you conduct practicals, but in GCE, you'll be given alternatives to practical questions. They are just practical based questions that you have to answer, and they carry the same marks as your normal practical questions. There are a few exceptions though in some home economic subjects like foods and nutrition, home management. Yes, if you're offering food and nutrition, you're going to cook. In home management, you're going to wash clothes or do whatever they do there. So if you're offering those subjects, please get your gas cooker, your water, your buckets, your food ingredients, because they're not going to give you those. Yeah. Now, the downside of alternative to practical is that you will not find past questions anywhere with alternative to practical questions. However, on WAEC's e-learning website, you can get answers to past alternative to practical questions. You can get the link to that website in the description box below. Now, I want to talk about low candidate subjects like French, music, Arabic. I took French, and in my center, out of about 200 plus candidates, only 2 registered for and wrote French. Yeah, so the thing is, in most cases, in WAEC GCE, I can only talk for WAEC GCE, I didn't write NECO GCE. You will not take your French exam or your low candidate subject in your normal center. In order to save supervisors the stress of going from one center or the other, the board will divide you guys into districts and just distribute you guys among those districts. I think in Lagos there are about 6 districts or so. I'm not really sure. So I wrote you should also note that it is only for your oral exam. So you write your OBJ and theory in your normal centers. So I wrote my OBJ and theory in my center in Ejaye Ojokoro, while my oral exam was in Unilag Secondary School. And your oral exam will not be the same day as your OBJ and theory. In fact, it will be like some days before. Now, this brings me to a very, very important point. Yes, making connections is very important, because this is WAEC, this is NECO. Nobody will tell you about important information that is released from the board. Yes, WAEC and NECO will not need to notify you of important updates. So it affected me during my French GCE, because I didn't know my oral exam center until like a day before that day, and I did not even know the dates, and it was very inconvenient because Unilag is very far from where I live. So just imagine I knew other French students taking GCE. I would have obviously known someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows the WAEC official, and I would have known my dates or center about days before that day. So it's very important to make connections, because in this Nigeria, connections very important. They are essential. They're essential for your survival. Yes, please, they are. Now, where can you get connections, or how do you get connections? So I think there are about 3 ways you can get connections. One, from your school or just your friends in general. So your classmates or schoolmates in your school, that are also going to take GCE. There are important connections. Also, your friends from church, from your neighborhood are also very important connections. 2, from your tutorial centers. So your tutors in your tutorial centers may have, first-hand information to all these updates, and your friends too in those tutorial centers. You can, befriend them and draw them closer, so you can also get all these updates as they drop. Now, 3, you can check out online groups or online forums. You can check from Facebook or Instagram. There are some GCE groups that you can join there that will give you all these updates. Don't join those ones that promise to give you questions and answers. Those ones that will give you expo. Please do not join them. And you can also check out my school.ng's website. They have really good online forums that answer questions. Okay, so one last thing before you go, as you're going on to write your exams, please and please do not cheat. Do not take expo or dubs or whatever it is. I'm not going to talk much about this, but you should note that in this life, if you achieve something big through dubious means, it will come back to have serious effects. So please don't cheat. You can succeed on your own with adequate preparation and a determined mindset. And in our next video, I'm going to be talking about how you can study for your exam, resources to use, and also how to manage your time as a student. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it for staying to the end. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a thumbs up or comment. And yeah, if you have questions, you should obviously comment. You can also reach out to me via email or Instagram. I put the links to my profiles, my email in the description box below. Yeah, and be sure to subscribe. You don't have to, but please subscribe because I have many more videos in store waiting to be made. So thank you. See you later. Bye.